everybody, this is Grace, and in this video I'm going to talk about something that I saw yesterday that was so unbelievably disturbing. And I'm not talking about anything that's physical, like physical abuse or anything like that, but it was an old form of abuse that I just haven't seen in years, not that I recall. And it wasn't directed toward me at first, okay, but it's just an old one. Now, I am all for freedom of speech, that we can say what we want to say, but how many of us have been made to go to on a job courses about what you can and cannot say on the job? Okay, you can't say that to people, people like you work with, anybody, including management. You can't do that, say or do things you can't say or do, and or in the clients or customers, whatever it is, wherever you work, you can't say these things and you can't do these things. And they do that because it could cause them, for one reason, from what I understand, is, I don't make the rules, I don't know. But for one of them is that way they don't get sued. Now, I can tell you a story about a woman. She was a big bully you would not believe. And I had worked with her very briefly. And she stayed on. I was only a seasonal employee. And she was awful. Well, as the story went on, within years, she was hired for management, and she was the biggest bully. I mean, the woman she was also physically big. I don't have anything bad to say about people who are physically big, but she used it, you know what I'm saying, to threaten people too. The kind of words people can speak that say, that are threatening and put their body behind it, their build behind it, but without saying, that they're going to physically hurt you. You know what I'm talking about. But she calls that, I was only seasonal. She calls that place of employment, because they kept her on. They said they needed somebody who was tough. Well, they kept her on, and she caused them so much trouble. They had to hire lawyers and all this stuff, and they couldn't fire her, as their reasoning was if they fire her, then that's admitting that she was guilty. Well, she was guilty. Of course, they're worried about their business. I still say she was guilty. Okay, she was awful. She would throw the whole book out the window, or tell people, you have to abide by this, but I don't. One of those, some would just call her a narcissistic bully, narcissistic person, narcissistic behaviors, all that. And not a diagnosis, but just what commonly, people use these days. That's what she was, bully. And that's because she didn't feel that she had to keep her mouth shut, and she just felt she could say anything she wanted. Well, what is the term when somebody voluntarily, turns in their resignation? Yeah. Well, she finally did that after she caused them a lot of money, and even people working there, other management problems, the owners' problems, other employees, they had to do a lot more work because of her. Yeah, because it was investigated. Oh my goodness, unbelievable. Now, the reason I said all this, I don't make the rules. None of us do. We've all probably had at least one job where they do that, and then they send you back through it and all that stuff every once in a while. Everybody has to go and to those meetings. Well, the reason it's on my mind is because there are some people recently that, like I said, something I saw yesterday was very disturbing. And it was that, I'm not going to name which one it is and what they did and what was said and all that stuff. It's a very long story. But it was 3 situations in a row over a course of a week, and it wasn't done to me. But the last time I was there, I wasn't standing right there, but I got to, come over here. I don't understand what's going on, and I went over there, and, oh boy, it was one of those things. I said, I want your corporate phone number, and I'm going to call them about you. Because, yeah, it was you don't do this to employees, you don't do it to the customers, and she was in management, and she was wrong. She was, one of those things is wrong when it's wrong. It's one of those things you go to those kinds of meetings for. So, yeah, it was wrong. I mean, I've been through many of them because I did temporary seasonal jobs, you know. I was a student. Yeah, and I'm talking, I was a career student, so that went over many, many, many years. And I moved around a lot, too. So I know what's in those meetings, you betcha. Okay. Now, from what I gathered from it, all around, was that they don't train their staff right. They don't train their staff. They don't do that. Apparently, they don't do that kind of, you know, training. That this is what you do. I don't know. I don't think. I'm really curious if they even do training at all. You know, besides this is what you do to do this and that's it. I don't think they give any kind of employment training, I guess. So yeah, they just. It wasn't just one person. It was 3. Like I said, it wasn't against me. I just happened to be there. But I'd heard about the other ones. I just happened to be there that last time. And then something was said to me. And like I said, I don't want to name it, which one it was that this person did. It wasn't one person. It was 3 that worked at this place. And at different times. 3 over a week, 3 different times. And like I said, I was only there for the last one. I just heard about the 2 times before. But I don't want to say what it is. Because, you know, people have their opinions on what it is. But no, you don't do that. Like I said, I've been through those meetings. You just don't do that. And it's not something I would see any, you know, more. I haven't seen in years. I cannot remember how long ago it was that I saw this. I mean, I am 56 years old, and it's been eons since I saw somebody dare to do something like that. Really. But I really don't know what to think. But I did call the corporate office, and I got the gist of how they deal with things. Because the woman asked me, do I want to give my name? And I said no. And then she said something a little bit later that basically meant she had gotten my name off of my caller ID. We all know this. I've heard this happen before. I've had it happen to me before. You say anonymous, but they get your phone. They get your name, you know, off of their caller ID and your phone number. How anonymous is that? But it was that gave me the gist of what it is. They don't care. Okay, this is a big corporation. All right. So no, you know, I got their number. They got mine. But the thing that was happening, it was just so disgusting. It was just so, you know, the 3 of them. I heard about 2. I saw witness 1. And then had crap thrown at me. I mean, and I was told, you know, at some point I'll probably say who it is that told me this. That, and I'm not trying to brag. It just is what it is. That I have these quick comebacks. How do I, you know, I was asked, how do you have these quick comebacks? And they're witty and they're logical, and it makes the other person think, you know, they're looking stupid because of what I said. You know, it's quick, logical, witty comeback. And I said, I really don't know. It just comes off my mouth. And I thought about it for a little bit. I said, no, I know what it is. I have had to deal with this kind of crap. You know, not this one I'm talking about, but deal with these kinds of narcissistic abusers for so many years that it's just innate, maybe not innate, but it's just such a habit. It's just there. It's not the same comeback. It's not the same thing. It's just, you know what to do. But you remember, these people can be dangerous. Okay. But yeah, you know, this is like the sign of the times. Or just the spirit of the times, I mean, that, you know, are they even teaching those things anymore? Because it seems like the past, I don't know, couple of years, maybe 2, 3 years, it's just gotten so bad that you walk into any place, a business or, you know, or you hire people or whatever, and it's like I had hired somebody, a maid service, and she decided she was going to tell me when she would be there, and she just didn't show up one day, and she decided she was going to tell me when she could be there. And I'm like, no, your service is no longer needed. But you know, that's a totally different thing. But it's becoming like everything is topsy-turvy, you know, and that's what some people say about, you know, narcissistic abuse when, you know, and it could be, I've heard this, there's a TED Talks or TEDx, I don't know, Collingwood, I think, said something about these days it's something like 70% narcissistic behaviors, or I don't know, and it used, and 30%, and it used to be the opposite. Yeah, everything's gone topsy-turvy, and that's one thing I've heard myself, and I know myself, when you're dealing with one, everything is topsy-turvy. You know, what was up is now down, and what's down is now up. You know, that kind of thing, and they make their own rules, and they think they can just do whatever they want. Well, guess what? Some of these things have consequences. That's like I started this off with a woman who she thought she could say anything she wanted. Boy, seriously, that problem, that legal problem, went on for years. Seriously, they spent so much money having to, like I said, for lawyers and the staff, and oh my goodness, because that one woman, she just felt like she could say anything she wanted to anybody. Wow. Okay, now I've said in videos before that I'm an independent. I don't even like using that term, an independent, because it seemed like another party coming up, but I am. I'm an independent. I think for myself. You know, I don't agree all with this side or all with that side. Nah, I have my own views. And so when I first started hearing people talk about freedom of speech and stuff like that, again, I'm like, why is this an issue again? You know, after so many eons, why is it an issue again? And I've gotten the gist of it, especially when one woman, she basically, you know, was online. She made videos about it. And she had written me privately one time. But basically, she felt that it's great if people verbally abuse people, because that way we can think about why would they do that. Oh my goodness. She was all for verbal abuse too. Seriously. I mean, I'm not just making a light of it. I mean, I'm not making it, you know, I'm not exaggerating it. Okay. You know what I mean? I just got all twisted there. What I would say right there is just a fraction of her opinion on it. She really just thought it was great that people just say whatever they wanted to say, even if they hurt somebody or harm somebody with their words. And this whole thing, sticks and stones will break my bone. No, that's just to try to calm a child. We're adults. We know that words can hurt you. But anyway, she was all for it, and then I got it. You know, for some people that is, not everybody. For some people it is. Like I said, I think it's great that people can say, you know, talk about how they, you know, voice their own issues. If they're on this side, that side, the other side, how many sides is there? You know, as many as there are people. Well, that's how an independent would think. But yeah, you know, everybody has a right to voice their opinion on stuff, but like we all know, there can be consequences. I don't make the rules. The rules are already there. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up. If you want to subscribe to this channel and you haven't already, click the circle. If you want to watch another video on this channel, you can click one of the rectangles that pop up. Like, subscribe, comment, and share if you would, and I'll talk to you on another video. Bye.